welcome to the Otherwise, guys. It's your boy Clue Shakur. Right now I'm here with...
Attorney Millicent Daniels with the Daniels Law Firm, a.k.a. the People's Attorney.
Okay. The People's Attorney. How did you get the name, the People's Attorney?
Well, you know, that's not the name that I chose. That's just something that my clients and former clients gave to me. I think it just kind of organically came about just because I'm a lover of people. You know, throughout the years of my practice, I've been in private practice now for close to 20 years. Next year actually makes 20 years. I know, right? Believe it or not, black don't crack. But, you know, people just recognize that I really just love people and love helping people in whatever situation that they're going through. I specialize in personal injury and criminal defense. So those are my areas of passion.
Okay. So you got your name kind of like in the hood when they give you a name, you got to go with it.
You just stick with it.
Okay.
You know, thank God it wasn't Pookie or Bam Bam.
Oh, yeah.
No disrespect to the Pookies or Bam Bams.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So how did you know, like, being a lawyer was something you wanted to do?
Well, I knew from an early start after watching my parents, you know, growing up here, they worked super hard. And I just knew that I wanted to be in a position of being my own boss. And I knew that pretty early on, you know, of just kind of like I wanted to create my own rules, create my own culture, do my own thing.
Gotcha.
You know, as a teenager, I just took courses. I went to Wolfson and took some business courses. Actually, I was in the first class of the Business Magnet.
Wow.
Took some like accounting. That's how I learned some stuff about accounting. Computers, you know, took courses on word processing. And then when I went off to college, I went to the University of Florida. You know, I took more courses there. And at the end, coming close to my senior year, I said, okay, I need to go ahead and start studying for law school because that was something that I wanted to do. Now, honestly, I didn't know I really, really wanted to be a lawyer, but I knew that I wanted to own my own business.
Okay.
So with the skill set of knowing the legal part, I thought that was going to be dynamic in owning my own business. And, you know, it's come to pass now 20 years later, I'm a lawyer. I'm a business owner. I'm what's called I call myself a serial business owner because that's all that I know is I've always owned my own businesses in different industries.
Wow. So you took that, like, what with the law end, was it able to help you on the business end as far as like getting contracts? Like...
Yeah, absolutely. So it helped me with, number one, having some knowledge as to those areas, you know, you know, I believe in, jack of all trades, master of none. So, you know, I specialize in my area that's in injuries and criminal defense. But in law school, I did take courses on things like contracts and property and business formations and business entities and international law, all of those things that, you know a little bit about and it makes you dangerous. Now still you know, when it comes down to a legal issue I'll go ahead, if I need a contracts lawyer, I'll call one of my colleagues and hire them or whatever. But it's good to have, you know, some information on your own.
Okay. So you said it's personal injury. So can you go into more detail about personal injury for people that don't know? Like,
oh, that's cool. So personal injury, or we call it PI, personal injury, is immediately off rip you think about car accidents. That happens every day. But not only is it car accidents, you got slip and falls. That also happens. You have amusement park injuries. You have pedestrian or bicycling accidents of people on bicycles or people who are just walking down the street and get hit. Believe it or not, people in crosswalks that get hit. Happens on Blandon all the time. Crazy, dangerous area.
Yeah, real busy.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have things like wrongful death. So this is one of the areas that I really have a heart for I do a lot of what's called negligent security. And pretty much negligent security focuses on people who are injured at businesses. So the business can be an apartment complex. It could be somebody who's shot and killed at an apartment complex. It could be something like someone who is stabbed at a convenience store or shot at a nightclub or a strip mall or a gas station or even down to a hotel. is those are called negligent security claims. And so I do a lot of those types of claims for families who have either lost a loved one, unfortunately, here in town, or who have been injured themselves at the property of a business.
Okay. What has been like one of your biggest cases or one of the most important cases that you've done to you? I mean, I know you've done more, but like, can you name one of them?
Yeah, so there's several of them that stand out, is I think they're all equally as important because ultimately is when I meet a family many times, like the family I met this afternoon, who just lost a loved one at a business, is I can't even imagine the type of pain that they're in, but it's important to me to try to get justice for them and justice for their loved one, because many times it just shouldn't have gone down the way it went down. I see particular areas of our community that over and over and over this stuff happens at. You watch enough of the news, you start seeing patterns. And I began to kind of take it personally of why are the people who are getting killed or really seriously injured looking just like me? They could be my sister or my cousin or my nephew. So they're really equally as important. I think some of the cases that really stand out is I remember early on when I started doing this, and a family came to me, and their daughter had been sexually abused by the repairman, like the maintenance man at their apartment complex. And it was a little baby, like a 5-year-old. And, something like that can affect a child's life forever. And, I went to war against the complex, and God was gracious and was able to help that family to get some justice for their daughter and get her the type of treatment and get her set up for the future, because, that's deep, when you're violated that young, your life can be forever changed. So that's one that significantly stands out as one of those that was just, it was terrible. It was terrible. And then the other families who, they're in their apartment and, get broken into or sexually assaulted in the apartment or shot in the parking lot, and they were just trying to get their groceries and get them upstairs, or robbed and, have these significant injuries as a result of that, is I feel like, nope, you should be protected at your house. Is the same way that I feel like I should be protected at my house, even if I'm renting or whatever, or apartment or a boarding house or whatever, a motel that, sometimes people have to stay at when they're in between, is whatever it is if it's a business, you should be protected at your house. And when that doesn't happen, I got a problem with it.
Is it more like the funding of the city not giving the security, or is it the companies just not spending the money on the security?
Well, I think oftentimes what I see is many of the places where this happens at are privately owned. They may be receiving some federal funding through HUD or one of these other types of grants that the government gives out. But nevertheless, they have an obligation to make sure that not only their tenants, the people who pay their rent every month, and not only the tenants, but also the guests of their tenants. So that's visitors and people that come over, make sure that they're protected. And unfortunately, you got landlords out here who are just pocketing the money, buying all kinds of stuff and, promoting their own lifestyles, and that just refuse to reinvest that money back in the properties that they own and get some decent security all the time. Get some decent lighting that works, some cameras that actually work and record people. Those are the kinds of things that kind of deter people from coming in a complex and something happening there.
Hey man, if y'all a landlord and y'all watching this, you bet she coming for you.
Listen. This is my thing, is every time this happens, we got to do something about it. Because if we don't agitate and agitate and agitate, it will continue happening. now that we have the information, many people that I meet who say, well, Ms. Daniels, I just didn't know. Okay, well, now that you know, what are you going to do? Is when this happens to your sister friend or this happens to your nephew, is you have the information, what are you going to do about it? Because I believe that if you don't do something about it and you have the information, you also are part of the problem.
Facts. So what should they do? Like, what's the step? What's the start?
Step one is when something happens, definitely call JSO and get them involved. Is one of the first things that we look for is, okay, well, what did law enforcement say? Is what has their investigation shown? And then secondly, of course, get medical treatment. Is if you have been seriously injured like that, where you've been shot, you're going to have to go to the hospital, get some medical treatment. And then the third thing, call the people's attorney. I mean, it only makes sense. This is what I do.
Hey.
So definitely give me a call at area code 904-432-1219. Is I'm open 24 hours. I'm here to help.
Yeah, make sure y'all follow Nerds Inc., the sponsor of the Otherwise Guys, at Nerds Inc. on Instagram. That's Nerds Inc. Tattoos, where art becomes life. Watching your Instagram, I can tell like you are like real approachable. You know what I mean? Like you going out, you having flights, you know what I'm saying? You partying.
I do the same thing everybody else does, is I party at the same places, I eat the same foods, I watch the same television shows. Is I'm really no different than anybody else out there, except is I have a law degree and I know what my charge is, and my charge is to help people.
But everybody don't live. All the attorneys don't live like that. Is what I'm trying to.
Listen, I believe I have my gift. Is everybody has their gift, and so you got to walk in your gift, and so is figure out what it is and walk in it. And I figured out really what mine was. I'm a people person. I love people. I love it talking to people and helping them in whatever way that I can, and I just walk in my gifting.
So I got a question about reparations. How do you feel about reparations, and what was your take on it?
I believe, very interesting question. I believe that the United States has a lot to pay for. There have been hundreds of years of transgressions, not only to African Americans, but also Native Americans. I believe that some of what is happening is as a result of all of the transgressions of this country. I'm hopeful that there will be some type of reparations for communities like ours that are disenfranchised and that have suffered economically, suffered socially when it comes down to the social justice system. Our civil rights are still suffering. I was talking to a family last week, and I said, we are still fighting for our civil rights, believe it or not. We talk about the movement from the 1950s and the 60s, but understand, we are still in the movement. Yes, we can vote and we have those types of basic rights, but the issue has become in how our rights are exercised and how law enforcement treats us as opposed to other folks. So I do believe that, reparations are due for our people, not only our people, but people like the Native Americans. And I'm hopeful that the country, our politicians in D.C. will recognize that. But I'm very aware that I feel like we are still in the middle of a civil war.
We are.
Yeah. Facts. And right now we're fighting for keeps.
Do you have any political people in the city that you support, or is it right now you just...
Well, I'm watching the race. I'm watching their candidates that have announced their candidacy for mayor. And, of course, I'm just watching, getting up to speed with the platforms. I believe in equity for the community across the board. I believe that children that are impoverished areas of our city should have the same opportunities as children that are in very well-off to-do areas. So those are some of the things that I'm very, very passionate about. What I look at is not necessarily the talk and the platforms, but who is really going to do the work, who has the track record where they have shown equity throughout the whole Jacksonville community, and really looking at things like, for example, economic opportunities, job opportunities, of making sure that it reaches into all areas of our community and not just areas historically that have benefited.
That's facts. And you got programs that you do that help out the community as well.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So, I have a business that's called Two Dope Chicks, IIDOPECHICS. And we do many things. Two Dope Chicks, we started off as being a business that was focused on doing things like different events for professionals and other members of our community who are just looking for looking for something that was fun for us to do. We're not really necessarily partiers, the kind of people who go out every week. No disrespect to those who do, but we're folks of a certain age, and we kind of go out every month. We do this thing called the Two Dope Brunch and Bingo, which is really popular, and folks look forward to it, where we play hip-hop, music bingo, have a little fun with DJ Swag, supporting one of our local black businesses, Jazzy's Restaurant, and we just have a good time. We do other events. We have a party coming up, actually, with Brandy Evans. We're bringing her down from Star of P-Valley. That's Mercedes of P-Valley.
Okay, you watch P-Valley?
I love P-Valley. I love P-Valley, but I love what it has done for the nation as far as creating more critical conversations.
Yes.
So we're bringing her down to do an appearance at one of our events that we're having at Dynasty. It's on October 14th, Friday, October 14th. That's for the Bethune-Cookman Jackson State University weekend.
Wow.
So, those are some of the types of things that we do. Now, that's the fun stuff. But because we believe in being responsible members of our community, we also make sure that we put our money where our mouth is. And what does that look like? We do things like we do the laundromat buyout every year, where we buy out a laundromat on the north side, south side, Arlington, and the west side. And we provide an opportunity for families to come in and they can wash their clothes. We provide the laundry detergent and the beads and all the smell good stuff. Because believe it or not, that stuff is very, very expensive. So we do that. We do, we're big supporters of an organization called We Care Too, which is We Care II, where we do a diaper drive and collect things for babies and toddlers of impoverished families. We also are huge supporters of the Duval County Public School System. I'm a product of that system and believe in the value of a public education and what it does for our young people, because I am an example of the community investing in me and what happens when you make an investment in your young people. So those are just a few of the things that we do that we're very proud of in order to pour back into our community.
That's what's up. So who do you listen to right now as far as music? Are you still kind of,
I'm kind of
locked in on the...
Yeah, I'm kind of really, I'm a huge fan of, I'm an R&B fan. So, and I love 90s music. So, I still listen to things like Jill Scott, love Maxwell, people like that. I mean, just the musicality of it is just amazing. As far as like current artists, I like, let's see.
So you want
some of my current people.
You want Stevie Wonder and
Marvin
Gaye.
Yeah, not Marvin Gaye, so to speak, but Stevie Wonder had an album called Songs of Life that was, the musicality of it was amazing. It was music was just amazing. Donny Hathaway, the musicianship.
Yes.
Roberta Flack, trained as a classical pianist. Just listening to her music is absolutely amazing. So I love people like that. Now, when I'm headed out to a party or something like that, you know, I'll listen to what is it, the Heat, the XM radio station.
Yeah.
You know, I listen to all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of right now that Afro beats.
Oh yeah.
I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that world feeling of just, it's like it hits your soul.
Yeah. Do you play that before you go, you know, step out on that case, you know, walk out there?
You know, when I'm going to court, I'm going to play something like On the Way after I do my devotion, Never Could Have Made It. Marvin Sapp and all that. I'll just do something like, you know, The Baddest Chick, Trina.
Okay.
You know, I'll do that INDEP.
Okay.
You know?
It's like you how the players get ready for a game to get hyped up.
You know, I get myself hyped up.
Yeah.
I'm in the mirror checking myself out.
Yeah.
You know, just all of those types of things that just get you ready because I know it's going to be a fight. But it's worth it. It's the reason why I wake up and do what I do.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I see you were into art and you purchased art too. So you're into that stuff. What got you into it?
I love art. I love colors. I love walking into rooms and they say good morning because they're so bright, which is I have so much color in my house. But yeah, and I believe in supporting Black artists. So there are artists out in California I'm a huge supporter of, Black artists. In fact, he won some award. I want to say the NAACP or Image Awards gave him, this artist out there does fantastic work, absolutely amazing. And, you know, not only well-known artists, but those who are coming up in the game, you know, is picking up a piece here or there. And, you know, I support it all because it's beautiful. It's just another way of expression, you know, and I believe my home and my place of business, I want it to look like me, you know, and I want it to be, my walls to be covered with where I can tell the stories of this piece, you know, and this artist who I talk with, or, you know, this piece that I bought in Jackson Square in New Orleans, you know, those are the things that make me happy.
I see another story. You were saying how you found out Santa Claus wasn't real.
Yeah, my daddy.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. So, all right. So, quick story is my family, we're actually from New Orleans. I was born in New Orleans. We moved to Jacksonville when I was like 8 or 9. And so in New Orleans, my parents had my brother and I at this daycare. It was called Rita's Kitty Campus. It was like literally right down the street from the house. And so I was like about 3 or 4, and it was right around Christmas time. So they had Santa Claus at the daycare, and Santa Claus was taking pictures with all the kids. So it was my time to get up on Santa Claus and take the pictures. So I approached Santa Claus, get up on Santa Claus' lap, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm smelling the smell, and I'm looking at Santa Claus, and my daddy has worn the same cologne for 50 years. Yeah. It's called Aramis cologne. It come in a brown little case at Dillard's. He's worn the same cologne forever. Yeah. And I smelled that cologne, and I looked up, and I said, this not Santa Claus, this is my daddy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's when I knew that Santa Claus was a Black man.
Man, that's great. I like the way you told that story. I'm like, I got to hear that. So, you said you into art. You still R&B. Oh, so what else? What else you got going on? What else?
You know, I'm just looking for that next thing. You know, I enjoy just kind of being out, hanging out with the people. I enjoy all the conversations that I have, you know, with people like you, people who are really in the culture, in the movement, have the heart of the people. Because this is our way to affect change, you know, is getting on platforms like this and really being able to talk to the people and share our thoughts. So that we can move things forward. I mean, so many young people have so many incredible ideas, but I think that we and particularly in our age group, we got to do a better job of listening to them because they just want to be heard, just like we wanted to be heard, you know, and listen to what they have to say because they have some fantastic ideas and really exposing them to other things like the arts and everything else because they are also looking for opportunities to express themselves. You know, that could come by tattoos. You know, when we were coming up, the tattoos weren't as popular, but that's legit art. I mean, I look at some of the, what do they call them, the sleeves on people. Number one, I'm like, how long did that take? And I know that hurt, you know, but it's so beautiful, you know, and that art is just as beautiful as the art that's framed on my wall and creating a conversation on that. See, it's meeting people where they are. You know, and that's why they call me the people's attorney because it's meeting people where they are, where that conversation about that young man's sleeve on his arm or his leg and his tats that can transition into a conversation about social consciousness, about legal issues, tips and things that we can give them, you know? So that's what I believe in.
Facts. We definitely got to sit down and do that. We talked about trying to do like a round table.
Yes, indeed.
Get that going on.
It's time. It's long overdue.
The city needs it. You think the city would like listen in on that, like the younger?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, check this. You remember back in the day? You remember Teen Summit? Yeah, and we would watch Teen Summit like it would be every Saturday. It would come on BET. You know, and those were things where we would watch and tune in and listen to all the discussion of other young people. I believe that same type of round table discussion is even more necessary now, you know, and why I say that is now the communication piece has become a little bit more challenging, and it's more challenging because we have things like social media where people are not necessarily sitting down at a dinner table having dinner all together anymore and talking about the day, you know, you may be working in a virtual environment, so you may not be talking to people live and have that live interaction. You know, these are all things that have made the communication more challenging. So now is the time that we've got to be more deliberate and intentional about having some very critical conversations as a community with our young people, with our leaders of the Jacksonville community. So I believe the time is now.
Thanks. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Listen, brother, I applaud what you're doing. I've checked you out for a long time. I want to encourage you to keep doing this because this is relevant and this is the kind of thing that affects change, and keep walking in your purpose. And whatever I can do to help, holla at the people's attorney. I'm here for you.
Okay, I'm all about my money. I ain't got no time for nothing else. Safe to say, I'ma get this show until my last breath, no handout. When I ain't got it by my damn self. Remember I was broke, I told my brother all I want was what my J off in the kitchen. Best believe he cook it like a chef. Stay down till you get it and I stack my money tall as shelf. Please don't come up short up on my money, I am not a elf. Show up at your house with them choppers like Mike J, I be there. Serious when it come to my money, boy, I don't play no games. Tax him 35 for the pound because he was a lame. Gotta be quick on your feet, cause it's a dirty game. Lost my cousin Floyd this year. This shit ain't business.